Malky, had a decent break after what I thought were three particularly important games. You had the draws against Glasgow City and Celtic in the league, and great win against Hibs in the cup final. Three very different games, one a kind of up and at 'em, one a tactical battle, and one against Hibs. Not to do Hibs down, but I thought you handled Hibs really well in terms of stretching them, tiring them out, taking the chances. Have those three games given you cause to have any thoughts about moving forward? Obviously, you've had a bit of a reset in recent weeks, or a bit of a holiday from the game, so to speak. Looking forward to the championship, does that give you any food for thought? Those last couple of games.
Mark, I think you're right. I think as a coach and as a staff, we're always looking to have fresh new ideas and give ourselves and challenge ourselves. Certainly what we have proved in all the games that we've played, that we've handled the opposition and we've managed to find a solution and a way to win. And I guess you're right, your question is quite a good question. It's something that we have been discussing myself internally about self-motivation and giving ourselves that drive to really give ourselves a push in this part of the season. So we're always looking to be innovative in terms of what we're doing in training, in terms of maybe so much for principles, they'll always stay the same in terms of how we're going to play, but can we put an edge to ourselves, or how do we give ourselves that edge?
This is also normally the time of the season where injuries and suspensions start to kick in. How have you been for that? Has the break been helpful?
The break's been really kind to us. Yeah, I think just after the cup final with the Aberdeen game that got called off, we had a bit of a flu epidemic that hit the girls as well, myself included. So that game being kind of cancelled was something that was probably a wee bit of a blessing to us with the amount of flu that we had in the place at the time, albeit I think that we're now in a position that everybody's had that break and they've came back mentally fresh. People have went home, they've visited their families, and as you say, the break's been good. The break's not been too long, but we've actually managed to, through our sports science and us as coaching staff, we always put together a plan for each individual player, that when they go away, they're still maintaining a level of fitness that's going to allow them to come back into training. And this week's been very good in a sense that we've really focused on looking after the ball and getting our dexterity right in terms of how our distances are, and we're passing over range, over short or longer distances. So we've really focused on that, but still putting in our physical element to make sure that we're prepared to be sharp and ready for the game come Sunday.
Going back to the Hibs Cup final again, there's and this is in all sports, I suppose, there are players who play for great clubs, play for their countries, but at the end of their careers they don't have medals to show for it. Yeah. Are there any of the girls that, through injury or just their timeline in the game, that you felt particularly happy for getting that result against Hibs?
I think to be honest, I was happy for everybody that's been involved to get us to the cup final, received a medal. Everybody in our full squad became part of that winning the cup and lifting the cup, that historic victory that we had. And that includes the younger ones as well, because there was a few younger ones that we used early on, early stages in the cup. But no, really delighted. And I think as well, we've got some experienced players in there who were so emphatic after the game about, there's always got to be an end product there, and when you play in the league games, you get the 3 points, which is fine. But at the end of that game, the euphoria, the adulation that the players received and picking a bit of silverware up is something that'll remain, and certainly with the staff as well. So I think it was a special moment for everybody concerned, the club as well, and the fact that that's the first ever time that we've lifted that cup. And I think the exposure that it had, given the coverage that Sky TV had that covered the game, our own sponsors, the amount of coverage that our sponsors had got through the game. But not just that, I was extremely proud of winning the game, but the way that the girls went about winning that trophy, you know, right from the start of the tournament right to the cup final, and even after the cup final, the engagement that they had with the staff, the engagement that they had with the fans was to me, it showed true professionalism within the group, and that's something that we must now pick back up going into this stage of the league.
And talking about that professionalism, Malky, you've got a new cup game coming up against the University this weekend. I think people who perhaps look at the women's game, you know, through the prism of the men's game, they look at it and they think, you know, lower division, you know, it's a university. But of course, being a university, they've got some advantages, which is access to facilities, access to fantastic backup. What kind of game are you expecting to have this weekend?
Mark, I think you're right there, and I think that's fantastic that you've mentioned that, because yes, the university teams do have that. They'll have facility there, they'll have the pitches, their grass, and they'll have Astro there. They'll also have that network of people, they'll have analysts there, they'll have a sports science department as well. So yeah, we don't take any game that we play at Rangers, we don't take lightly. This game will have there's no difference to this game than any other league game that we'll play. It'll be treated with the same respect, but also we know that throughout every game that we play, and when we win the game by game, we're winning things. You know, there is a pressure that comes on, or a target that comes on to that expectation levels there, that yeah, you're expected to do it, and that's something that we're working on as well with the group just now, that the more we win, the more success we bring, the more that we have to have tools there to handle the next game and the next game and the next game.